Oh, I've down one. There's another 3 there.
Hit Billy bag.
No,
All 3 down. All 3 down. All 3 of that squad down. Downed him. Downed him. Smoking.
There's 2 more.
Yeah, no. 1 down. Finished.
Team wipe.
Oh my god.
It's over here, Kai.
Yeah, I'm moving.
2 there. That's 2 deaths. Definitely 2. There's 2.
Oh, my
There's 2.
Let's go.
Cracked.
1 down.
Stun out.
1 down. 1 down.
Gas is closing in.
Got them all. Got them all.
Enemies remain.
So, as you may or may not know, I have hit 100 hours played in Warzone. I'm just about to hit 100 wins in Warzone as well. And these classes are basically the 4 classes that I've been using to get my wins. These are my 4 meta classes. These are also the weapons that I see being used the most by other people when I'm getting killed by squads. So it's kind of like, these are the 4 main weapons that I get killed by and I get kills with. Now, I know there are some weapons such as the Grau, the MP5, maybe even the PKM that are kind of, cusping on the edge of the meta. But I think these 4 weapons are kind of the bread and butter of winning games in Warzone. So you may have noticed from my last loadout video, I've changed the main gun that I use. I've switched from mainly using the M4 to using the AUG. Now, the reason why I use the AUG is because it excels in close to medium range, which is most of the encounters that you're going to have. If you're going to fight someone at long range, you use your sniper. The M4 is still, I think, the best all-round assault rifle, but the AUG has the movement speed increase, faster aim down sight, better hip fire, and also uses SMG rounds instead of assault rifle, which might be easier to find. So, on my new AUG class, I have the 407mm extended barrel. This increases damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control, but does not reduce movement speed. We've got the GI mini reflex. As I've mentioned before, I prefer having red dots over iron sights, as iron sights will block your target as you're controlling recoil. I also have an ADS stock, but if you wanted to have a suppressor, which I don't think is necessary, you would put on the monolithic for sound suppression and damage range, and you would remove the stock, not the rear grip. The stock adds ADS speed, however the stippled grip tape grip adds ADS speed and sprint to fire speed, and sprint to fire speed in this game is very important for reacting to people you might not know was there. Now, the most important thing about the AUG class is you have to have the 5.56 rounds, but also the 5.56 is 60 round drum mag. This is one of the best classes for sustained fire, slightly slower rate of fire than the M4, but same DPS, which means that you can have longer sustained battles over the M4, even with the same amount of rounds. So overall, I think that the AUG suits Warzone better because you can fight at more ranges, especially at close range. And as I said before, if you need to fight someone at long range, then switch to your sniper, but all the other ranges are covered by the AUG. Now, if you're a newer player or a more passive player, then I would still recommend taking the M4 over the AUG. The M4 is the best long-range assault rifle and can still hold its own at close to medium range as well. I would recommend this class for anyone that wants to stay back and isn't comfortable getting into the fray in close quarters. So if you're more of a defensive, supportive player, this rolls for you. So, on my M4 class, we still have the stock M16 Grenadier. This is the best stock for all ranges. We have the GI Mini Reflex for easy target acquisition, no stock and stippled grip tape for ADS speed, which makes up for some of the ADS speed that you would gain on an SMG, and also the 60 round mag. I changed it from the 50 round mag before because the benefits of having 10 extra bullets in that really intense moments where you just need those 10 extra bullets are more important than potentially losing some ergonomics elsewhere on the gun. Just remember that you will lose a lot of engagements if you try and hip fire, and you lose some movement speed as well, compared to SMGs. Before showing you my HDR and MP7 loadouts, I'm going to show you how you can take 2 primary weapons whilst also keeping the Ghost perk. So when you first get your loadout drop in the game, make sure that you have a class that has the Overkill perk on it, with a sniper and assault rifle and launcher, whatever you want. And then if you find a second loadout drop in the same game, make sure that you have a class that has the Ghost perk instead of Overkill, and then pick up the weapons that you previously dropped, or keep the new weapon in your new secondary loadout. This means that you can keep Ghost whilst maintaining 2 primary weapons, without the Overkill perk. As you can see, both of my secondary classes have the Ghost perk equipped, so that when I get to a second loadout drop, I can decide whether I want to switch to the MP7, or if I want to keep the AUG and the M4, but I want to improve my sniper rifle. Now, my HDR for my primary classes is slightly different to my secondary classes, and here's why. So, when I first pick up my first loadout, my HDR needs to have fully loaded perk. We have the fastest ADS stock, we have fast ADS laser, we have the longest barrel for range, and we have any kind of suppressor. It doesn't really matter, they all do the same thing. The most important thing is that my first sniper has fully loaded, which means I start with 40 rounds of sniper bullets, even if I haven't picked any up. Also, keep in mind that extended mags and thermal optics increase your ADS speed significantly. On my secondary loadout, I most likely haven't gone through 40 rounds, which means I should free up a perk on my secondary sniper loadout. This is the one that I'll pick up second. And here, I've switched out the 40 rounds for the focus perk, which means that whenever I get shot, I'll be able to maintain my aim. Now you'll notice on my secondary loadout classes, I have a pistol as a secondary. It doesn't matter what pistol it is, because we'll be picking up the old weapons from our previous loadout. However, if you're running the AUG or any other kind of SMG on your primary loadout, make sure that your secondary pistol has fully loaded. As soon as you pick up your second loadout, you're going to drop the pistol, but it will give you full SMG and pistol rounds because they share the same ammo, which is another reason why the AUG is a benefit over an assault rifle. So lastly, we have my MP7 class. Honestly, I don't use this very often, but it's very situational. If I happen to get to a secondary loadout drop and I see that the ending circle is ending in an urban or close quarters or built up area, then I know that I'll want a close quarters weapon for the final circle. And that's when you'll want to take the MP7, which almost always beats the AUG and the M4 at close range. On the MP7, we're trying to balance hipfire, speed, and also keep a little bit of ADS speed just in case we need to shoot someone further away. But for the barrel, we have the FSS Strike, which increases damage range and bullet velocity, but does not reduce movement speed, which it does on the longer barrel. We go for the 5mW laser. You're going to be quite aggressive with this gun at close range. It doesn't matter that people can see it, but it increases your hip fire and sprint to fire speed. Very important for aggression. The GI mini reflex, once again, this is optional. If you want to go for a suppressor, I would remove the mini reflex, use the iron sights, and maybe put on a suppressor if you want. I personally don't think it's needed. Stippled grip tape for sprint to fire speed and ADS speed, just in case you need to shoot someone slightly further away, but you're going to be hip firing most of the time with the MP7. And then pretty important is the 60 round magazine, so you can potentially spray down an entire squad in a single magazine, and you will absolutely melt every other gun in the game at close range with the MP7. As for equipment, the proximity mine is far better than the Claymore, and the reason is you can throw proximity mines further. You can destroy vehicles instantly with proximity mines. You can throw them over walls, you can throw them into buildings. I'm going to be doing a full video on Sunday all about proximity mines and explosives. You're going to love it. And lastly, we have the tactical smoke, which is absolutely amazing, helping teammates, taking loadouts, taking items off the floor after you've had a fight, just covering so many situations. The number of times a smoke has clutched the win for me is unreal. Definitely take the smoke. Anyway, I hope this video helped you in some way, and if it did, please leave a like. Consider subscribing, and please let me know in the comments if you think I've forgotten any major loadouts and metas that other people would find useful. Thanks for watching.